Hi, it's Sue Greenwald here with Awakened Stories. I'm here today. I can't even talk, I guess, with the real John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, Sue. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for inviting me on this morning.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know you were just on a minute ago doing a live, so we'll just keep this, short and sweet, just touching base. And what I wanted to do was answer questions. Last week I had asked a lot of questions or gathered, and I want to get, the answers to as many as possible out there. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so cool. Yeah, I was on YouTube earlier.
Yeah.
I had read a bunch that when you start getting the truth out and busting their balls, the haters come out pretty thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to put them in their place. And I was explaining, I got to calm down sometimes. I see these hate comments, and I just want to say, "F you guys." But yeah, so I gotta chill out. That's not my style.
Well, to be honest, it's very frustrating when, you spend all your time and energy trying to get this story of torture, betrayal, murder, all of this out. People do nothing but put up walls for you, obstacles, blockages, call you names, don't believe you, don't have the time to research the story. It's got to be frustrating. So that's very understandable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I gotta be smart and not be so
Well,
hateful.
everyone's allowed a temper tantrum. And so for everyone that's watching, I cannot see the comments right now. And I'm sorry about that. So I'm just going to wing it.
I just got a
So,
comment popped up here. It says, "Is Ozzy part of the Cabal?" Talking about Ozzy Osbourne. I've known Ozzy since I was very, very young. And I actually explained in my book how I wrote down a bunch of songs, and Ozzy ended up getting a hold of those songs. Um, but it says, "Is Ozzy part of the Cabal?" Any entertainer in the industry is under the control of the Cabal. If they need something done, they will go to Ozzy and ask him to do what they want him to do. It's that simple. Um, so that would be a big yes. Is Ozzy a bad guy? I like Ozzy. I really do. He's never acknowledged me, or I think he has, because somebody asked him one time, "Who writes your songs for you?" And I believe he said JFK Jr. I don't
what?
know if you, yeah, I don't know if it was a big joke or what, but yeah, somebody passed that on to me. But yeah, everybody thinks JFK Jr. is dead. So yeah, maybe it's a private joke of his. I really don't know.
So what you're saying is you wrote poems or songs way back when? Like what
Oh
are you?
yeah, I was in Canada one time. I've wrote many things that have disappeared in my life, and a lot of it when you're under MK Ultra. I invented an electric car when I was just a kid, and I had all the diagrams how to do it with all the. It was a big wheel, just like it was on a bicycle. You remember the bikes you used to pedal? It had the little thing on the tire, and it would light up your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I used that principle for an electric car. So once the motor starts spinning, it activates all the generators. But instead of making that little light on your bicycle, it makes your tires go. And it was basically a perpetual vehicle that, you know, I had a little pony motor. You'd put a little gallon of gas in it. So your car would basically run off of a gallon of gas for a week, just to get the wheels turning. And once the wheels started turning, it would make it. But I drew the diagrams for all that, and it disappeared. It just disappeared. But I thought it was really great how I did it. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that disappeared. But when I was in Canada, yeah, I was heartbroken and I was lonely. So I wrote all kinds of songs and then memories about my mom. And when you hear Ozzy's song, like saying I was hypnotized, things like that. Mama, basically, why'd you do this to me? I was hypnotized, traumatized. But anyway, I would put all that down. And then a few years later, I would hear Ozzy singing my words.
Now, so you met him.
Oh yeah, I was at his concert in Oakland, California. See, I was with the Hells Angels as a child. And that picture is now on my website, therealjohnfkennedy.jr.com. Well, the Hells Angels protected all the way. I even shared Mick Jagger. I was in a little boat one time and we were going out to kill Mick Jagger. Me and some Hells Angels. I was sitting on a case of freaking dynamite in a rubber boat and it was raining and we were going out to blow up Mick Jagger's yacht. We really were. And it started raining and it started raining so hard we turned around and came back. But Wayne took me to go see Mick Jagger after that. And I said, Mick, you got to pay up the Hells Angels. You got to make good. I said, one of them is in prison because he was protecting you. You need to get a lawyer. You need to make it right. And I said, if you don't, they're going to freaking kill you. I said, trust me, I was sitting on a freaking case of dynamite that had your name on it. I was real young back then, but I told Mick that. And then Mick paid up. So it's, the Hells Angels protected a lot of, you know, from Willie Nelson to Waylon Jennings to all of them. Um, oh, I'm so bad with names. They just disappear when I'm trying to share. Um, God's going to cut you down. That's a famous one. It was the name of pop. Um, Ring of Fire is one of his other songs.
Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash. I knew Johnny Cash really, really good. I love Johnny Cash. I was on the movie sets with Johnny Cash when he got into Hollywood, and I really admired and looked up to him. But I met many, many, many people, and we're all protected by the Hells Angels, controlled, um, basically. But yeah, I love Johnny Cash.
So,
I remember when it said the Ring of Fire. He was actually told, you're you're exposing the cabal with that song. Pretty, I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went
yeah.
down, down, down. The flames got high. But basically, he was in that song explaining the cabal and how he was in the same ring with them.
And so they didn't like it because he was close. He was exposing
Oh,
them.
they loved him. They really did.
Yeah. So when you say the Hell's Angel protected them, does that mean at their concerts or does that mean in everyday life? Like, can you kind of describe that a little bit?
Well, it was in their everyday lives and at the concerts. I think it was either Waylon Jennings. I believe it was Waylon Jennings. One of those guys, anyway, loved alcohol. He loved to get drunk, and then he would get drunk and he wouldn't make his concert appearance when he was supposed to because he was drunk. So the Hells Angels actually kidnapped him. They did. I think it was Waylon Jennings. I think it was, that name keeps coming into my head. But anyway, they kidnapped this guy, whether it was him or not. It was one of these famous guys that loved his whiskey. Well, they kidnapped him a couple days before his concert appearance. They locked him in a room with people around him and said, "You're not getting drunk, dude. You got a show to put on. You're not getting drunk." So he went on and he did his show and he was sober. But
Wow.
that's the kind of things that they do.
So their job was to make sure he did the show because there's a lot of money involved in a concert.
Right. Lots of money. And if you don't show up, it costs you more money.
Yeah,
And they all got their hands in all that money,
right.
all the way from the protection to the ticket master, everything.
Yeah. When you think of it, a concert ticket, I don't even know, a couple $100 now.
Oh yeah, it used to be
Multiply
cheap
that
though.
by thousands of people. And then you've got parking and you've got this and you've got that. There's a
And
lot
if
of
you want to
money
actually
involved.
go backstage and meet the person, it costs you a couple grand.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy, right? Wow, that's interesting. So basically you were at Ozzy Osbourne's concert a few times, you got to know him a little bit, And you think he or someone in his group stole your lyrics.
Well, actually, it was somebody of somebody, and they actually told me they were going to pay me.
Ah,
They said, "Hey, if this song, if he likes the song, we're going to give you 5 grand." And when I was a kid, 5 grand was a lot of money,
yeah.
and it was like great, awesome, but I never got paid or nothing. It's just
Okay.
all more bullshit. Like the Cabal have said, "Hey, you're going to get your family money back." This was when I was in my 30s, and well, things take longer, and then they put you off, and then you're in your 40s, and they say, well, that ranch we told you we were going to give you, the paperwork's tied up. Just wait till now you're 50. Now I'm 64, and you know, we only have so long to live. And I'm 64 years old, and all those promises, just like all the Q promises, just sit back and wait. It's all bullshit. It's all a stall. Hey, I'm a criminal. If I'm a criminal, the longer I can get away with being a criminal and going to prison, the better. Just wait. Just wait. Don't do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, somebody sent me an article on Q this morning, and I thought it was super interesting. Like, how we have talked before in the past year and said, we're supposed to sit here and trust the plan. And they basically, like, it's been I think about 8 years since we've been hearing all this stuff. Now we are witnessing some exposure and stuff coming out. We are witnessing, but it's taken a long time. And so if there was a plan, I think we'd see it out a little bit differently. It would be more in our faces than it is now. Right now, it's all quietly done, you know?
Yeah, that picture of me with the Hells Angels holding the weapon and me having the patch on my back and all that, that was taken by Wayne. I remember it was Wayne that took that.
Mhm.
Wayne was basically the silent guy in the HA that would do things with the government and that kind of thing. But anyway, in the photo of me standing there, in the very bottom corner, it says 4-Q. Now, the Hells Angels, if you know the Hells Angels, HA, they explain it to how it works. H is 8 in numbers, and 1 is A. So HA means 81, and they share that with you.
Ah,
So the HA 81 is the Hells Angels abbreviated. But in that picture of me, it says 4-Q. Well, if you use the same formula, D is 4. So even that picture was telling people in that picture that this is DQ, which is me, the real John Kennedy Jr., if that makes sense.
I do. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
And Wayne took that. I believe it was for Life magazine. You can never go with the dates. I don't know what the date was, but they didn't release that picture from Life magazine until 2012. So they actually held that picture back for 30 years. Why was that done? They said because it was too much seeing a child with a M16. I don't know. It sounds like bullshit to me. It sounds like they didn't want to expose the real John Kennedy Jr. for hanging out with the Hell's Angels, is what it sounded like to me. But
Right.
who knows what's in their minds and their deception and everything.
Yeah. Because you were just a little kid, like maybe seven-ish, look from the looks of you.
I think I was probably 5, right in
Five.
there.
Yeah, you were just a little kid. And I looked at the picture, like you can see that your shoes are very old. I mean, yeah. So it's just a little shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, it was those little high top deck shoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go to the website, you can look at the pictures of me in the White House in the airplane. The airplane is such a good, I mean, the helicopter is such a good picture of me because I'm looking right at the camera. You can see my
Yep.
face, my goofy smile. And then if you look at pictures of Richard Steele, the Hollywood actor, and you put that side by side, so you got John Kennedy Jr. in a helicopter, you got Richard Steele in bed with Doris Day and Brian Keith. But then if you put the picture of me with the Hells Angels and all three of them side by side, I've had comments here in the past few days like, if anybody can't see that, they're just freaking blind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, the story's getting out. There's so much evidence of me being who I am, but there's so many haters trying not to get that truth out because there's so much money involved in my story, so much theft, so much deception. And it does go people all the way to pre-planned first degree murder of my loved ones and identity theft of my life. And they don't want my story out because I'm exposing them all so big time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Sue, I'm just rambling in today's
No,
question and answer day.
no. Anything always goes. Okay, you're the one that tells the story. But there are questions that people had. But this is fascinating stuff that we don't know, right? We don't know
Oh,
anything.
and I just got another pop up. Brenda Price, I love Brenda Price. She's such a good lion, but she just put kingsmarty.tv. You can also go to kingsmarty.tv and see my videos.
Right, right,
King Smarty opened that channel, so it would be uncensored. And thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing that
right.
to the world.
KingSmarty.tv. I need to put that into the description. I I have a list like you wouldn't believe. So, it takes me sometimes a while to get things done, but I'm working on it, okay? So that being said, we have a person that needs help in northern Texas. And what she's done is created the most fabulous board of photos of you and your dad and all, and kind of telling the story. She's got a beautiful photo board and she's going to go down there. I think it was this coming Friday, and
Yeah,
also hand out little flyers and things to tell people about your book, the video, the quiet journey.tv, and basically that you're still alive. So if there's anyone that would like to go that's in Northern Texas or can join her,
yeah.
let me
Actually,
know.
it's Shannon Sheraton, I believe,
Yep.
and she handmade flyers out.
Yeah.
If there's anybody in the Dallas area that would like to be her sidekick and go with her for protection and all that while she shares the story, I would love to send you guys a bunch of bumper stickers to hand
Yeah.
out while you're doing your sharing and sharing the photos and anything. But anyway, if there's anybody in the Dallas area that's a lion that wants to go have some fun and share some truth, message me, message Sue.
Yeah.
You can message me on the website or John JR1 at gmail.com, and let's get some truth sharing. Let's
Yeah.
bust their balls and get the
It's
truth
just,
out.
it makes it more credible if there's more than one person, okay? Because sometimes when there's only one person, you think, oh, it's just a zealot. Okay, that person's crazy, right? But if there's a couple people and they can fill in the blanks of the story a little bit, then people are interested. And if they hand something out, it's even more interesting. So if we have anyone, that would be a fabulous thing to do. And I bet it would be super fun too.
Yeah, and you're supporting a wonderful, wonderful cause of truth,
Right, right.
and yeah,
All
but we
right.
would like to show some support for her, you lions, if all possible. And
Yeah,
maybe we can start spreading this where people, I know Elizabeth from Chicago likes to go and share the story at the meetings they have in Chicago for politics and things like that. Maybe we can find some people in Chicago to go with Elizabeth and hold up some bumper stickers or, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
some gals have been putting their bumper sticker on their shirt like this right here, just walking around, and people say, "What is that?" And they say, "Go check it out." So it's all wonderful.
Yeah,
We're gonna get
yeah,
it out. We are, and I want to thank the wonderful people that did all this quiet journey stuff with all my heart and soul. Thank you guys. You're you're making a big difference. You really are. There's people like that and people like King Smarty that show their love and
right.
support to try to get the truth out. And you Lions, for all you do, are really appreciated with all my heart.
It is a fabulous video for those that haven't seen it yet. It really tells a great story. You did a good job, but the fact that they came and did that for you is so impressive. They
Oh, it
did an
is. And
amazing job. They
it's
deserve
so,
credit. Yeah.
yeah, it's so wonderful that just the cost. I couldn't afford to pay them to do that, and the cost that they put out of their pocket to make it all happen, just to drive down here from, up north to get the bed and breakfast to turn it
Yeah.
into a studio for the day with all their equipment and everything. Just the cost is it's so heartfelt out of their own pocket to make it
Right.
happen.
Right.
It's huge. It is freaking huge. And then we were chatting with a gal last night. She's had a motorhome in her yard, and it's been sitting there for a few years, so it needs tires and a battery and this kind of thing. She lives about 500 miles from here, but she said she would like to gift that to me and Robin so we can make our trip back east.
Oh,
We could fix it up with tires and a battery. It's really nice. It is. It's just been sitting, and we could put the trailer behind it with the motorbike, and we could make it happen. We really, really could.
that would be so beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
Yeah.
we actually, me and Robin talked to her for about an hour on the phone last night, and she's a wonderful lady. She was cracking me up too.
That
But
sounds
yeah,
great.
I would love for her and Robin to get together and become friends and things. That would be great.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so we had a couple comments to this effect last time that you'd make a great president of the universe. Okay, not just the US, but you'd make a great president of the universe. And also a couple comments that you'd be a great spokesperson for the children, for saving the children, like since you've been in their shoes, all right? And I know
Yeah,
you.
I want that with all my heart.
Mhm.
I want to start the healing center. I want to help the children because I was just doing a video on YouTube and I was telling, hey, I had been kidnapped. I was made to eat rat poison from these people to take my life. I was shot at. I was thrown in a cage as a. I know what they do. I know what the cabal do to children. They think they can own these children. They'll put a murder rap on these children, just like they did to John John, and they will own them the rest of their lives. That's our government. That's the people within our secret government do that. And I had a guy come to me a few months ago. He actually helped me on my kitchen for a couple of days. And he said, hey, I got some investments going on. And if they happen, I want you to promise me that you'll be a spokesman for the children.
Yeah,
And I said, well, first of all, I don't make promises. I won't promise to anybody because, if something happens and you break a promise, then you got to deal with God about that.
yeah.
But anyway, I said, even if your investments don't come through, we still need to get together and help the children. Whether we have the funds or not, we need to do it. So, yeah, it's something that has to be done, whether we have the funds or not. We can still
Sure.
hand out flyers, we can still get the story out, and
Right.
we can still expose these people for what they do to children.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to be a billionaire to help someone. Just the basic stuff, telling the story, sharing the book, sharing this or that, telling people about the video, which they can watch for free. All of that is helpful. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and my story of me being the son of our former assassinated president and being kidnapped and
Right.
being tortured and some of the tortures that they did so they could get photos to extort money from the Kennedy family. And my biggest fear is when they would kidnap me and put me in a cage, would family members come to try to help me just to be killed? I don't know, but that's always been a big thing in my heart. Was I luring other family members to their death for them trying to help me? But I know how they work and operate, so I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
let's say
no.
let's save the children. Let's save the
But
children.
you can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do. So, you weren't luring anyone. It was the bad guys that were making you the bait,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It still affects me mentally, though. It does.
Yeah, it's very
The things that the cabal can do, and I learned a lot how they operate and work.
yeah. Yep. Okay, so that is a check, a yes, spokesperson for the children.
Most
What,
definitely. That
you
is
know,
a number one at the top of the list. And there's so many, somebody asked me once in a question, what is the first thing I would do as the president of the United States? And I replied, there's not just one thing. There is so many things that are top priority, not just
yeah,
one,
yeah,
from the veterans and the homeless and the drugs and what the cabal is doing. I guess a big one would be to expose the cabal because we got to get rid of them to help
right, right,
this country. And
yeah,
when you got criminals running it now, they got to go. They got to go.
yep, agreed, agreed. All right, next question. Are the Quigleys still alive that you're aware of?
I really don't know. We just filed a lawsuit the other day against the Quigleys in a court of law. It cost us $435 for what they have done to the real John Kennedy Jr. So the court might have got it. It was just mailed out the other day. But a couple years ago, I got a photo of the Quigleys, and whoever sent that photo, it was all photo chopped up. I heard Max Quigley was in hospice years ago. So if he is still alive, it must be a miracle. Or did they replace Max Quigley
Right,
also
right,
to keep their secrets? Because Max Quigley was very at the top of the cabal. He really was. Dorothy Quigley is at the very, very top. She's very good at what she does, keeping secrets. She'll go to church and praise Jesus. And then in the background, they're fucking with kids and, doing pornos and all that crazy kind of shit um, in the background.
right.
So there is a lawsuit filed of what they will see how that goes. Maybe that will make world news. I do not know. I don't know if they're really alive and who they are or what anymore. I really don't.
About when is the last time you saw them that, like just a guess?
The last time I saw the Quigleys was when me and you got something boiling on the stove, Robin. The last time I saw the Quigleys was when me and my son packed up in our motorhome that we had at the time and drove here. And we purchased this old trailer house. And that was, I'm thinking, a good 10 or 11 years now. But that was the last time I saw them. They were standing because I told them that me and David were going here. We were going to buy a house and we were going to get away from all the bullshit. And Dorothy was like, "No, you're not. That's never going to happen." But the last time I seen him is when we were driving here to make that happen. And I wish my son was here. I really do.
Mm.
So he could see the victories we're making, but he'll find out sooner or later.
He's watching from up above, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, this next question is multi-part. So, can you give approximate dates you were in the CIA?
Well, if you look at the picture that was just put up on the website of me with Sonny, Sonny was the leader of the Hells Angels. That is huge. That is big time huge. Me having that vest on my back with a patch on the back, that is bigger. I mean, that picture right there explains so very, very much. Sonny was teaching me. Um, he was teaching me things. I believe Sonny was CIA. I do. I believe that's what kept him alive for so long, along with knowing people like me that he could do things and get away with it, and the story would not get out. But I remember me and Sonny being in the freaking jungle, and he was teaching me shit. Um, how to cut limbs off a tree and how to be quiet and you step on the rocks and not on the leaves and all that kind of training. Sonny was there when I was a kid. I thought Sonny was my adopted father, but I thought so many people, because I was passed out, like I've explained, to so many different people from Hollywood to people like Sonny. There was many people there with Sonny. George Christie, He was there. He knows me. He's made HBO miniseries or History Channel miniseries and things. He's selling books, but why won't he acknowledge me? There's so many unanswered questions, but I was with the CIA at a very young age. When I was at that age, I was in South America. I was in South America with missionaries. I remember they had the president's son and were protecting the president's son of South America. And I believe that child was killed or replaced when I was that age. Um, the South American government wanted to execute the missionaries where I was at, and me being there, they basically told the missionaries to get on a plane and go back to America. But this was all going on with the CIA and me as a child, so I was learning all this shit as a child.
Right.
Um, so much that went on that I was just, MK Ultra. I was tagged with. Sometimes I wasn't under MK Ultra. Sometimes I was tortured not to remember and share the stories to this day. There was a captain of a ship. That captain was killed. When you're in the military, you achieve ranks. And how do you achieve those ranks? For the Cabal, if there's a general at the top, they will simply kill that general. And then they will try to put one of their members in to be the commander of the military. Well, there was a captain of a battleship. I believe it was a battleship. That captain was poisoned to death. So we went there to investigate his death and found out that it was from his coffee. I believe Wayne gave me that coffee cup, coffee pot. It's a silver coffee pot, and it's stamped on the back, United States Marine Corps. But I believe it's solid silver. Who's going to have a solid silver coffee pot? A captain of a battleship would. But anyway, I was there. I was there while they were doing the investigation. I was there while they were like, well, who killed him to take power of that battleship? The next under him, the next officer under him. Things like that are done. And I was there to witness how the Cabal worked to achieve their ranks in the military. So I was taught many, 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 many things. And was it CIA? Most definitely. If you know, Sam Walton, and it all comes back to big business and big ties and big money. Sam Walton was the founder of Sam's Club. Sam's Club turned into Walmart, people. Hillary Clinton was on the board of Walmart. So this is huge. Well, what's even bigger is John Walton was Sam Walton's son. He was with the CIA in Vietnam. When I told you the story of me having to cut ears off as a little kid and putting them on a necklace, John Walton was the one that handed me the leather strap. John Walton is the one that they killed in a plane crash to take over Walmart. It all ties together, but I was there. And I was there. So was I CIA as a kid? I learned a lot from them. I learned a hell of a lot, but I hope that answers your question because I was probably 5 years old in the Pentagon.
So it sounds like you were basically trained and you were witnessing and observing as you did with Wayne a lot, but you witnessed and observed, and it actually took place in some of these operations, although it was never official. So you were never
Oh
like,
no, people can't just Google David Quigley
yeah,
or John Kennedy's.
right.
Um, they can't just search it on the internet. They didn't want you to know. They don't want you to know this day that we went into Cambodia to save lives, to save prisoners of war. We did things that our Congress wouldn't allow, but we did it anyway. That I was in airplane painted all black with a machine gun, shooting shells at places we weren't supposed to be, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's huge. But I've had comments, well, I Googled your military service and nothing comes up. Um, well, yeah, nothing is going to come up. They don't advertise that stuff. You're not going to find it, or that's like Googling the Secret Service. How does the Secret Service um, protect the president of the United States. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to come out and say, well, today we're going to be over here and tomorrow we're going to be over. It's not fucking advertised.
Right.
And like I've said a million times, it's photo ops. It's big time photo ops. And you're not going to find this on Google either. I was trained to be a Secret Service agent to protect the presidents of the United States of America. And with training for that, and this is CIA training or Secret Service training, it's all the same to me. It's all the same clique. But they taught me, they brainwashed me. They would tie you up to a stick and shoot you. You think, oh, you're going to die. They would get the fear of death out of your mind. So you wouldn't care if you died or not. That is the training to be on that detail. You get the fear of dying. And then they tell you, after you have that feeling where you don't care if you're going to die or not, they put the thought in the president is more important than your life itself. If there's a shooter, you protect that man. You are willing to die for that man. That is the training of the Secret Service and how they program your mind. So, with that said, people, when you see Donald Trump holding his fist in the air, think about what I just told you. They never would have allowed it if it was real. You never would have seen, they would have shielded Donald Trump with their bodies, and they would have been willing to die to save that man. They would have never allowed that man to save up to make world news like this, ever. It's all a movie, it's all a script. Trust me, I'm sharing the truth. I have no reason to lie, but it's all bullshit. It really is.
Right. So as far as Secret Service training, that's a subsection of the CIA. Is that what you're saying?
It's all together.
Yeah. So you,
I could never tell a Secret Service agent from a CIA agent or an FBI agent.
right.
I know when something comes down and they all want money, they all show up from these different branches and then they divvy it up, just like in war, you know, um, Afghanistan, Iraq, or whatever. When all that gold and all that money is being looted from these countries, it's all put out there. They all show up. CIA, they all show up and they say, "This is mine," and then they say, "No, you can have this, or you can have that." But I'm talking gold bars, silver bricks, coins by the pile full, and they're sitting there saying, "No, this is mine. We get this one because it's all the cabal. It all goes to the cabal so they can keep their efforts of keeping
Right.
us in chains. They take it, they don't share it, they use it for what they want to use it for."
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So I guess my question then is you don't have like beginning and end dates for any of this stuff. It's all like your entire life was doing this stuff.
Could
Yeah.
be up to right now. I'm
Okay.
doing what I'm doing to try to get the story out to help Americans. What their agenda is, gosh, I don't know. There's been so many attempts on my life. Um, I've asked them to pull up and talk to me. I've asked the three letter agencies, hey, come talk to me.
Yeah.
I've called the FBI and said, hey, if you don't come talk to me, I'm sharing my story whether you like it or fucking not. And it's not going to make you guys look good. I was willing to reach out to them, but now we're going to bust their balls. We're going to get the story out, and we're all going to be patriots
Yep.
and do what we have to do to save this country
Yep.
from the cabal.
Yep.
And it doesn't just affect this country; it goes all around the world. It really
Yes.
does.
It
I
totally
I,
does.
I even heard of a gal on a video this morning from England saying that they're trying to get smart cities in England also. They're trying to take our freedoms away. It's all about enslaving us, keeping us in chains to the higher power of governments. And governments should be about us, not about them. But they're trying. If you see through their red tape, their bullshit, their laws, everything is to enslave us and make them rich and wealthy while they keep us in chains and in little smart cities and all this other bullshit.
Right.
And we don't, you know, and I got a turd in my pocket when I say we don't, because now I'm speaking for others, but I don't want to see that happen. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think, see, it's incrementally done. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. We're used to it. Like after 9/11, we willingly gave our power over to TSA, the government, right? And then, it's been incrementally taken away. Like they have to know our ID, where we're going, what we're doing.
Oh, they're doing
Now, even
everything like
banking,
that.
like banking, you can't take money out and they'll ask you what the money is for.
I tried to
Nine
go live on
commitment.
TikTok. TikTok's really bad with stealing your identity.
Yeah.
It gave me three choices. I could do facial recognition, I could give them my credit card information, or I could give them my driver's license photo information just to do a live on their fucking TikTok app. So I said, okay, I'll give them my face. My face is all over there anyway. So I did it and said, sorry, that won't work. But you can go give us your credit card information and your photo ID information, and then we'll let you go live. Well, I said, fuck that. It ain't worth going live.
Yeah.
Me giving credit card information and every other thing, especially after what they've done to me and done to the
Yep.
Lions. It's
Yep.
all a scam to steal our information from us. The identity theft, the fake facial recognition, they're stealing so much so they can control us and keep us slaves to the bullshit.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I don't want everyone to have, like to me, it's like they're going to create a clone with your face on it, and then it'll have your voice, it'll have your, financial background or whatever your patterns are. We don't need that.
Yeah, they've already stole so many accounts from me
Yeah.
using my name. I mean, here I am. Sorry, Shib. I'm doing a live with Sue Greenwald right at this moment, Mary. If you can call me later when I'm done. I, I was trying to call her all morning and her phone was off. I was worried
Yeah.
about her. So
Yep. Okay.
and
All right.
now she'll come watch us.
All right. All right. So, next question then. What else do you know about Trump than what we've talked about?
I don't I don't want to know. To me, he is just he is just part of the cabal. If he was my cousin, he was my family member when I was young. There were so many family members that I had, but um, Wayne even had me make a website one time, right when I mean this was 25 years ago, but it was called The Hidden and Lost Crowns. That says a lot to me that they hid me and then they lost me and forgot about me. Um, that what he had me put. Um, and then another business I had was Capital Trading Cards. I believe it was Capital Trading Cards. So I had the Hidden and Lost Crowns as an email, and then I had Capital Trading Cards because I was selling Pokemon cards and baseball cards and all this stuff. But I called the business name Capital. Um, why that was done, I really don't know. But that was I was programmed to do that, I'm sure. Um, where were we going? What was the question, Sue?
We were talking about Trump. So
Oh,
let's just reiterate for the new people that in
yeah.
1959 you saw the helicopter crash, you saw a body, and you were told it was Trump.
Yeah, all I know is Donald Trump told me he wanted to be a pilot. He wanted to fly his own helicopters. He had all these helicopters. He wanted to fly them. He wanted to be in charge. He didn't want to have to hire this guy to take him here and there. He wanted to do it himself.
Yeah.
So after he told me that, when I saw them pulling Donald Trump on that gurney dead, it made sense to me that he wanted to fly his own helicopter. They might have programmed into that. They already had a body double of Donald Trump, turning him into a Hollywood actor, giving him acting lessons, speech lessons to be the next Donald Trump. That right there, I believe. Do I have all the hard facts? No. Truth? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I believe Donald Trump died that day on that helicopter and they replaced him, just like they replaced me with John John. That would have allowed, because they took all his mob bosses out that day also. So not only did they kill Donald Trump, they killed a lot of people that would have stood up and said, "This man ain't Donald Trump. He's not." So they killed them all that day and replaced that replacement. That one replacement by our CIA, by our three-letter agencies of Donald Trump that day made them fucking billions of dollars. Instantly, all assets of Donald Trump went to a fake Donald Trump. If you're in organized crime and you're a gangster, how better way to make money is just take out all crew all at once in a helicopter crash, take that identity, take all that fucking money all at once. And that's what I believe happened.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just a belief. Do I have Donald Trump's DNA and said this isn't Donald Trump and all? No, I don't.
Well, let me ask a question. Did you ever like run into the person playing Donald Trump or whatever?
No, it was from a distance when I did, and I had to relay messages back and forth
Oh,
from a carrier. And when they first replaced Donald Trump, there was a lot of that because just like my mom, I was talking with a gal, and I need to get a hold of her again, but her mother was best friends with my mom, best friends with Jackie. They wrote each other letters all the time. Well, in my book, it says my mom was killed in 1975. They unalived my mom in 1975 and they replaced my mom. The CIA gave her plastic surgery, dental work. They fixed this fake mother of mine up to look like my mom. And she stole my mom's identity, which got billions of dollars, I'm sure,
right.
doing that. Just like I'm saying about Donald Trump. But those letters to her mother stopped. Why did all those letters? My mother, my real mother, and this lady were best buddies. They were writing each other letters back and forth. Oh, I'm going to wear this to this party, or I'm going to wear that to that party. And then all of a sudden, the letter stopped. Why? Because the fake did not know that she had a friend that was writing her letters back and forth. So that would have stopped, and it did.
Right.
And the puzzle pieces all fit together like that.
And also the tone of the letters. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not just the content, it's the tone. Like if you're really good friends with someone, or if it's more formal, that's a different way of writing, a different choice of words that you'd use.
And that goes back to the cabal. Um, if someone is unalived, let's say they go after someone and they unalive that person, the cabal will know their family or relatives, and they'll have somebody write a letter to their
Yeah.
family and say, "Oh, I'm doing great." You know, the cat just had kittens and the puppy ran off, but the puppy came back. Just write bullshit. Send that letter to that person so that person never knows that they unalived that person. They play these games like that.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
And I've seen it.
Well, I just wanted to ask the question, and I like the idea of, have you ever seen him since? You know?
Yeah. No.
Mm,
Just that one time.
okay.
Um, and it was actually they had a runner going and asking him questions saying, "Will he bring John?" But that when that happened, his reply to me through a carrier was, "You'll have to get a lawyer up." That was
Wow.
Donald Trump's reply to his cousin John Kennedy Jr. was get a lawyer. Because I'm saying, hey, I'm the real John Kennedy Jr. Help me expose the story. And he's saying, you better get a lawyer. That ain't going with the Cabal's program. I got to take a break for a second,
All
Sue.
right. All right. Well, I'm going to go show the website if I can figure it out. All
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, they
right.
did updates. Wonderful
Yeah,
updates.
so we'll do some what updates. So everyone bear with me a second. You know I like to talk, so here's my chance, right? I just got to find the right button. Let's see. There we go. Wow. All right, so here's John's website, The Real John F. Kennedy Jr. And we've got some new pictures there, and we'll be putting more and more and more out there as time goes on. But what I wanted to show you is on the home page, there's a link to John's book, Stolen Identity, which tells the basic story of John's life. Not everything, but the basic story. And then the historian's tale is the link is there for that one as well. That kind of supplements the first book. All right, so it just gives you more information about the Kennedys and John's story. We've got some more pictures, and at the bottom are videos, but the important one is The Quiet Journey. So here's another place that you can watch The Quiet Journey. All right, so you can go to thequietjourney.tv, or you can come to John's website and watch it. It's an hour long, an hour and a minute and 11 seconds, but fabulous video. And I almost will guarantee that you're going to cry. All right. So then I'm going to go over to the timeline because I like that page as well. So we've kind of picked apart some key periods in John's life. We show a photo with a little bit to tell you what the story is. All right. We've talked about most of this before, but I just want to show it for the new people to the video. One other thing I want to talk about, John,
Hi.
is the healing pendants.
Oh, yes.
So these are the healing pendants that John wears pretty much all the time. 5 different colors, 2 different sizes per color, large and small. They're 111 plus $10 shipping. And they have, not only do they have an awesome graphic of John's book and the title of the book on the back side, they have healing and protective frequencies in them. So we've watched John when we first started talking a year plus ago through now improve, 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 improve because he's been wearing his pendant. And he has the other stuff around his house. These are infused by King Smarty. All right. They have all sorts of frequencies in them for healing and, basically anti-disease, anti-this, anti-that. So fabulous, fabulous stuff. All right. Just to,
And with that said, Sue, 100% of the proceeds go to help me
right.
share the story, pay my bills, put gas in the car, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. So it is all so
Right.
thoughtful, and it is a collector's item. It really is. There was only 1,000 of them, and so if you own one, you'll be able to say, "Hey, I supported John and getting this truth out to the
Yeah.
world," which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you purchase a pendant, it helps pay my
Right.
internet bill and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And then
My dog's going in circles.
the other thing you can do is you can donate. So there's the Cash App link on the donate button. $1 The Quiet Journey. You can write a check. Now, if you write a check, you need to make it out to David Quigley because that's still John's legal address or legal name. But here's his address, and you can
Yeah,
donate.
if you can leave that address up there for a minute,
Yeah.
Sue. If you send me a envelope, and these bumper stickers aren't that big, so put a couple self-addressed stamps on an envelope, and I'll mail you some bumper stickers. So yeah, mail me a self-addressed stamped envelope. I'll fill it full of bumper stickers, and you help me with the postage and my library. I mean, secretary skills really suck, so it's a big help to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
And we've handed out probably 50 envelopes in the past few days of bumper stickers. So when it comes to names, and I just can't remember it all. I really can't. It's
Yeah.
getting too big, too much, which is way cool. So yeah,
It is
thank
very
you.
cool. Yeah, we're gonna share the bumper stickers around to watch the Quiet Journey.tv, all right, that video, and make that a household name, right? Make you a household name again. So I just wanted to show the website, so that was my opportunity to
Uh,
talk, right?
and I
Because
thank you so much for
what I
that.
love to do is talk. I love to talk about this stuff in particular. So.
Yeah,
Awesome.
this is such a big deal. It really, really is. You know, I've always said, hey, they don't want you to read what's in this book. They
Right,
really, really don't.
right.
One person is a huge achievement for somebody like me to get the story out
Yeah,
to just one of you. But
yeah,
now with this bumper sticker idea, we can get this out to thousands of people all around the world. We really can. And this is such a good video. The Quiet Journey is such a little short, it explains it all. It really does. They did a wonderful job
totally.
of me exposing, me being the whistleblower of our corrupt, evil government. And that's what this video is all about,
Right.
exposing them for all their bullshit.
Right, right. So I am actually able to get into the video now, and I've been watching the chat recently. So there's a lot of talk about Trump, how his wives have said that's not my husband, etc. So people are realizing there's more than one Trump out there, okay? And that's important to note that I think there's been multiple Trumps, guys out there playing Trump in various formats. So it is really going to be interesting soon when all of that is revealed and we find out what the truth is. Second comment I wanted to make is Joe Rogan, like somebody's trying to get him to talk about your story. And I'm going to pretty much say that will never happen. Okay. Because he's not on the right side of the fence. So there's very few people that are famous out there that are, trying to get the truth out there that are uncorrupted.
Yeah, there is a lot of corrupt people out there that are taking
Yeah.
money to share
Yeah.
the fake narrative of the Q movement
Yeah.
that John's coming back to run with, and it never comes out true because it's
Yeah.
all bullshit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, there's a lot of money being passed around at the
Yeah.
top by the cabal to do this,
Yeah.
and a lot of it is to discredit me and my story that they don't want out. They're keeping us in this bubble, but we're
Yeah.
we're doing everything we can to bust their bubble they're keeping
Yeah.
us in.
Well, what happened is, most of these people are paid. Of course, YouTube or whoever pays them, they're monetized, so they make money by views and all that other stuff. But they're paid to be out there, right?
Hmm.
So it's like controlled opposition. They know so much and they might act like they're on your side or whatever, but they're really there to spread confusion, disinformation, and plain Jane wrong information on purpose, right? And they are paid handsomely to do it. So they don't really have any incentive whatsoever in talking to you other than to discredit you, right?
Right.
They're not there to help you get your story out. And I'm
Yeah.
not discouraging though. If one of those guys asked you, I would say go for it. But brace yourself. It's not going to be like a
Oh
nice,
yeah. See, I went on a show the other day,
yeah, I know.
and you know, it's crazy because they like try to put themselves above me and prove me wrong, and it all goes back to fuck around and find
Yeah,
out
yeah,
who
yeah.
John Kennedy really is, because you will if you fuck with John, you'll find
Yeah.
out.
And then the other issue is that those that suspect you might be telling the truth, might be afraid. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? This is a story that's been suppressed for 60 years. They don't want the story out. Look at, they're supposed to get the JFK files out. They're still messing around with that, right? So
Yeah.
what makes anyone think that there's anyone going to be on your side that's of like that's out there in the public eye?
Yeah. Well, I'm explaining the files, what our government did in our videos and in the books and all that. And yeah, I'm exposing what the files really are.
Yeah.
It was called a mafia war.
Yep.
That's that, no Kennedy curse, not the Kennedys are cursed, so all this bad
Right.
shit's happening. No, they were killing people. They killed my father because they were going after the money and the power.
Yeah.
Mafia war, plain and short and simple.
Yeah.
Truth right here. Right on Awakening Stories with beautiful
Well,
Susanna.
they also wanted to suppress what he had to say because we know he was going to talk about the finances. We've heard he was going to talk about like the space thing, he wanted us to land on the moon, but what happened was not truthful either. So, there was a lot
Yeah,
of,
100%.
yeah, they
And I
they
was even, I was a Hollywood actor as a kid. And Wayne brought me to a Hollywood set. And it was a Hollywood set. of the moon landing.
Oh.
And he said, so that's how they did it.
You were there?
I was there when he brought me, and it looked like the fucking moon. And he just said, so that's how they did it. Like he didn't know either.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, Hollywood bullshit. And with that
Well,
said, how did they get the cameraman to film that? How did they get the moon rover on there? How did they even get off the moon with no gravity? That is called Hollywood's fucking you people.
yeah.
Just think of the money they stole out of the people's pockets so they could put in the program to get on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and where did that money go? Of course, we know into the Black Ops programs and the other research and blah, 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 blah. Nefarious stuff, not for
Right.
the people whatsoever, right? But people were innocent then. They were excited about the project and they believed it. They were shown it on a grainy old black and white TV, right? Nobody had
Yep.
color back then, I don't think. I don't know. But now we see the clips of the strings and what's going on behind the scenes as they were filming. It's ridiculous.
The deception in our government is fucking huge. You
Yeah.
know, we the people, we're supposed to be the government. That's the way the United States was set up. But no, not anymore, people. The government runs us. The government hides behind big, fat, bulletproof glass. You have to make appointment months ahead. You have to
Yeah.
stand in line. They ask you if you have any weapons on you just to go talk to people within our government. They've allowed this to happen because they fuck us over and over and over again, and we're pissed off about it.
Yep.
America with our weapons, our forefathers gave us a right to have weapons. So the cabal just can't fuck us. They can't just totally fuck us. So we rise up as the biggest army in the world and say, you're not fucking us anymore. They got to take it slow. They brainwash us. They get us believing. They get us holding a flag up, supporting the cabal, and we don't even fucking know it. It's huge what they
Right.
achieve to screw us over and brainwash us. It's huge. We're just puppets to them.
Totally. It's really sad that we've been treated with such little regard. But it's not like all of a sudden. It has happened our whole history. The whole history of our society, of our civilization, we're treated basically like animals. Like, we're treated as slaves, right? Just keep them smart enough so they can do these jobs and we don't need the rest, right? And we're
Yeah,
seeing more and more.
I was on the couch last night and I was thinking about all the bullshit and all the deception. And I've always loved history, so I'm thinking in my mind back in the Roman days, back way back, when Alexander the Great conquered the world and all this. And I was thinking, has this world always been that fucked up from, governments controlling the people? And I was thinking, wouldn't that be great if the United States of America took all that back and made that all disappear and put the people back in charge of this big hunk of land anyhow? That would be wonderful, but we got to unite to make that happen because right now it's not happening, people.
Right.
It's not. But I would love to see that in my lifetime anyway. The United States actually take it, the people take
Right.
back our country.
Right. Well, I guess the thing we're going to ask people to do is keep sharing, right? The quietjourney.tv is a really good thing to share on your social media. Just tell people about it, share the bumper stickers around, and tell people to watch that. Most people would rather watch a video than they would read a book.
Yeah,
So,
I've been saying, get your popcorn and your soda or your beer, whatever, and get some time and go watch this movie. And
yeah.
to the haters, if you see a hater comment that pops up, send them here. This right here is going to
Yeah.
be the key. This right here is
Yeah.
going to go viral, whether they like it or not. We're going to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
And thanks to all you Lions that are sharing this all around the country,
Yeah.
in all the states. Um, yeah, I would love for the police to come here and say, how come all these stickers are all on the stop signs and on business windows? And how come we found this stuck to the sheriff's office? I would love that to happen. I really would.
Well, as
And
long as you don't get in
I would love to
trouble.
say because it's the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're having bad technology issues, evidently. Everyone's saying that we're cutting out, the video's being messed with. So all I can say is we're over the target. Okay, so everyone watching
Right.
this already knows it, but
I was actually on Facebook this morning with Bill Messer. He does a thing in the morning where he preaches the gospel and talks about health food and that kind of thing. And sometimes I'll wake up, get my coffee and my cigarette, and Bill will be there. Actually, I was kicked off his show this morning 4 times. And there was some wonderful lines on there that did some
yeah, yeah,
wonderful a poem of me. Bill read that about my story, and yeah, but they were chopping us up this morning too.
awesome. Well, okay, we'll sign off for today, but we'll be back, right?
Love you, Sue.
Thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you. And we're never giving up. Never
Never,
giving up.
never.
So
A lot of people tell me to quit, and I say I ain't never quit until the day I die. I ain't
that's
quitting.
right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, John.
Peace.
Bye-bye.